So, a very good morning, students. Once again, I welcome you all for the online lecture series on remote sensing and GIS. So, this lecture is basically the continuous in the previous part one and part two lecture. We were talking about the application of remote sensing and GIS. तो प्रीवियस लेक्चर में हमने डिफरेंट टाइप्स के एप्लीकेशन अभी तक पढ़ लिए हैं। हमने स्टार्ट किया था डिजिटल एलिवेशन मॉडल से। उसके बाद हमने इसका डिफरेंट एप्लीकेशन जीआईएस का देखा। जैसे सबसे पहला एप्लीकेशन हमने एग्रीकल्चर में देखा। उसके बाद हमने देखा कि हाउ जीआईएस इज देन यूजफुल फॉर द नेचुरल हजार्ड्स। उसका एप्लीकेशन हमने नेचुरल हजार्ड्स में देखा, जैसे लैंडस्लाइड, अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम, फ्लड, ड्राउट, volcano. Then we have gone through the application of remote sensing and GIS in forestry. Then हमने forestry part को explore किया। उसके बाद हमने transportation engineering part को explore किया, उसका application। उसके बाद हमने hydrological cycle के बारे में देखा, glacial studies देखी कि कैसे remote sensing glacial studies में helpful है। उसके बाद हमने रिमोट सेंसिंग का यूज ग्राउंड वाटर में भी देख लिया है। तो आज हम देखेंगे एप्लीकेशन ऑफ रिमोट सेंसिंग इन ओशियनिक स्टडीज। तो जो बचे हुए और एप्लीकेशन है, वैसे एप्लीकेशन तो बहुत सारे हैं, राइट। लिस्ट इज वेरी लॉन्ग, बट जो मैं आपको इम्पोर्टेंट चीजें हैं वो कवर कर रहा हूँ, राइट। तो हम अब देखेंगे कि ओशियन स्टडीज में कैसे हमारे लिए ये यूजफुल है। तो लेट अस सी ओशियनोग्राफी, हाउ वी कैन यूटिलाइज दिस रिमोट सेंसिंग एंड जीआईएस। तो हियर यू कैन सी अ लिस्ट ऑफ एरियाज। ठीक है, आपके पास एक लिस्ट ऑफ एरियाज हैं। ये लिस्ट है आपके एरियाज की। ठीक है, वेयर यू कैन यूज दिस रिमोट सेंसिंग एंड जीआईएस। पहला है सी सरफेस हाइट। पहला पार्ट है आपका सी सरफेस हाइट, राइट। देन you might have heard that sea surface is rising and then it is approaching the land or maybe the settlement area. So what is happening? Because water is coming up from the sea surface, right? So the sea surface height is an important parameter to study the climate, because everything is related to each other, because we are talking about the earth system. Now दूसरा है आपके पास, वो है सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर। अब ये पार्ट देखो, जो सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर का है, ये क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? बिकॉज दैट रेगुलेट योर लैंड सरफेस टेम्परेचर, विंड स्पीड एंड डायरेक्शन, currents and planetary waves, polar sea ice type and aerial extent, atmospheric water content and rain rate, sediments and suspended solids, height and direction, height and directional distribution of ocean swell, and concentration of phytoplankton and its distribution. तो तीसरी चीज है वो विंड स्पीड एंड डायरेक्शन है। चौथा है आपका करंट एंड प्लानिटरी वेव, देन पोलर सी आइस टाइप्स एंड एरियल एक्सटेंट, देन वी हैव एटमॉस्फेरिक वाटर कंटेंट एंड रेन रेट, sediments and suspended and dissolved material, height and directional distribution of ocean well, then the concentration of phytoplankton and its distribution, right. तो अब हमको देखना पड़ेगा कि हाउ दिस रिमोट सेंसिंग एंड जीआईएस आर यूज्ड इन दीज एप्लीकेशन। ठीक है, कैसे हम इनका एप्लीकेशन में यूज करते हैं। सो हियर स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द अल्ट्रावायलेट टू रेडियो वेव्स। ठीक है, अल्ट्रावायलेट से हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं और रेडियो वेव्स तक हम जा रहे हैं। दिस इज आवर वेवलेंथ रीजन। ये हमारा वेवलेंथ रीजन है, अल्ट्रावायलेट से लेकर के रेडियो वेव्स तक। यहाँ तक आपको चीजें क्लियर हो रही होंगी। ठीक है, तो these are very selected important areas where we want to study using this remote sensing and GIS. So let us see how we can derive this ocean color. So for that we need to use the visible data. So, which says the satellites which are active and can measure the images in visible wavelength can be used to extract this ocean color. For sea surface temperature, we have to use this infrared images. For sea surface topography, wind, sea, ice, sea surface salinity, we have to depend on the microwave images, right? You can see these are the list of areas where you can perform a new research, right? But for that, you need to have basic understanding of remote sensing and GIS and how they are used in this particular application. उसके बाद अब जो अगला पॉइंट है वो देखना ये है कि लेट अस सी ओशियन कलर रिमोट सेंसिंग. सबसे पहला देखते हैं ओशियन कलर remote sensing. Right. This is very effective technique to study the water quality. Okay, since visible light can penetrate the surface skin of seawater, which provide the direct information about oceanic constituents with specific absorption and backscattering properties in the visible spectrum, such as phytoplankton, suspended and dissolved organic matter. Both active and passive remote sensing technique can be used here, because for different types of application, you need either active or passive, or what resolution you want to that decide the active or passive remote sensing data. So spectral variation in the sea surface reflectance are utilized using this particular concept, where the reflectance is equal to the function of absorption and backscattering. So ocean जो है, ocean holds the great capacity in heat storage for the long time period and help the stabilizing earth climate. और जो ocean है, it plays a key role in global heat budget by redistributing the heat content through currents and mixing processes. Because we need to have a mechanism to redistribute our atmospheric temperature. Otherwise, what will happen? Our surface will be too hot. So sea surface is acting as a normalization, right? So sea surface temperatures mapping is significant in studying the heat transfer mechanism at the ocean atmosphere interface. Microwave and infrared radiometers are used for sea surface temperature mapping. You can visit some of the space agencies website and you may find some of these parameters are actually readily available to you. SST data is being used for the weather prediction, ocean forecasting, fisheries forecasting, and pollution monitoring. See, now we are talking about the ocean tides and currents. Accurate measurement of ocean surface height or sea level can be done using satellite sensor for gathering the long-term information on the ocean tides and currents, right? Tides and currents contribute to the dynamics of ocean topography, playing a vital role in the oceanic circulation and heat transport, where the satellite remote sensing can give you a clear-cut picture. Satellite ultimately is being used for the measurement of the significant wave height and ocean current, particularly synthetic aperture radar images is used in ocean wave imaging. अब ओशियन टाइड्स एंड करंट के बाद जो हमारी चीज है वो है, हम बात करेंगे सी सरफेस सैलिनिटी की. तो जब हम बात करते हैं सी सरफेस सैलिनिटी की, बेसिकली जो हमारा सी सरफेस सैलिनिटी है अलोंग विथ एसएसटी contributes to sea water density variation, triggering the ocean circulation. Changes in ocean salinity content arise due to the evaporation and precipitation processes, as well as river runoff and ice melt. So now you can see or you can visualize all these different systems or earth system are linked with each other. So if you have a problem in one system, that will affect and can be seen in the another system. Ocean salinity ranges from 33 to 38 parts per thousand, and accuracy of satellite measurement of SSS sea surface salinity is about 0.2 ppt, right? So you may have very accurate measurement from the satellite. Microwave radiometer and scatterometer are used for sea surface salinity measurement. Sea surface salinity is derived as a function of the sea surface temperature and sea surface roughness because all of them are linked with each other. Sea surface salinity and temperature data are used for understanding the deep water thermohaline circulation responsible for the transport of heat and nutrients in the ocean. See, उसके लिए अगला स्लाइड मैं आपको शो करता हूँ. So I will show you some of the case studies where people have successfully used this remote sensing technique. In this particular world, satellite ultimately data was used to study the sea level changes in the Mediterranean Sea, and which is for the 1993 to 1999, a strong correlation are observed between the sea level and temperature trends, indicating a thermal origin of the changes rising up to 20 mm per year has been identified in the eastern Mediterranean region and 5 to 10 mm per year in the western basin. Sea surface warming has found to affect the surface, immediate and deep layer of Mediterranean Sea. Right. Now, जो अगला स्टडी है केस स्टडी, इसमें देखिए, in another study, this is published in Journal of Marine System, the large scale fronts in the southern India Ocean was investigated using satellite derived sea surface temperature from the NOAA advanced very high resolution radiometer, that is known as AVHRR. Monthly sea surface temperature gradient map were derived for the period of 97 to 1999 from the multi-channel sea surface temperature data of a spatial resolution of 18 kilometers. So a total of 5 fronts were mapped for the first time and their spatial and temporal variability was analyzed. This study found the satellite temperature data to be efficient and consistent in providing the frontal sea surface temperature pattern of all fronts simultaneously. So that is the beauty of remote sensing from space. So you will have full coverage and you can easily find out what are the changes is being occurred. Urban planning is another potential application of remote sensing and GIS, right? So So when we are talking about the urban planning, so here you can see this is your land cover. So basically here we are talking about the natural and self-regulated classes, right? And here we are talking about the man-made and managed land use land cover, right? So this is known as land use. This is known as land cover. ये हमारा एक इसमें land use है और दूसरा हमारा land cover है, right? So land use, how we are utilizing the land cover or the natural land cover, right? Urban planning or most efficient or most essentially urban land use planning is a general term used to explain the process of regulating and systematizing the land use of an urban area most efficiently, making the optimum use of the land resources, planning and managing the population, and utilizing leading to the prevention, the conflict and chores. Further, classifying the land use parcels according to their utility and dimensions, which are most accurate and regularly updated, right? So this you can think in remote sensing and GIS data sets following a standardized system accepted or proposed by the authorities like MOUD or Government of India, right? Land use maps are the most important tools for urban planning and modeling the different urban processes and phenomena. So let's talk about the conventional methods for planimetric survey includes the chain survey, transit theodolite, paper maps, etc. And what are the disadvantages are associated with such methods? Labor, time, cost intensive, very low temporal resolution, large number of measurements are required and chances of error increases, cannot be reproduced and updated. Attributes for the particular feature cannot be attached because this is a hard copy output, right? The storage of paper map is a very tedious job. Now, on the other hand, when we are talking about the contemporary methods, that means latest methods or the advanced methods, the recent methods, digital techniques. So first one is your remote sensing, then your GIS, GPS, mobile mapping, then total station, right? And here, what are the advantages we have? We have less labor time and cost intensive, right? Rapid method of constructing base map in absence of detailed land survey, very high temporal resolution. So that means you will have more detail. Map can be generated at any scale according to the requirement, because let us assume that you have a data of 0.25 centimeter, you can generate very high resolution map. But if you need very coarse resolution, then also you can reproduce this. You can resample this high resolution data to low resolution. Any number of attributes for a particular feature can be stored and assessed to using the digital information. Storage and access is very easy and user friendly. Now let us talk about and let us see the remote sensing in urban area, how it is going to help. So remote sensing is a widely accepted contemporary technique used for the acquiring information or data in urban area study. Okay, high resolution remote sensing data is an absolute requirement for urban mapping and analysis. So when we talk about the spatial resolution, very high spatial resolution images are desired as urban areas are mostly dense, they are very compact and features are also very small. लेकिन जब हम बात करते हैं स्पेक्ट्रल रेजोल्यूशन की, मल्टी स्पेक्ट्रल और हाइपर स्पेक्ट्रल डेटा की, which gives the ability to distinguish between the different urban feature and their material composition, that I hope you have understood in the previous lecture. So temporal resolution, high temporal resolution can give you the changes, right? Change detection can be done using this temporal resolution. When we talk about the radiometric, so when radiometric resolution is involved and you have high radiometric resolution, which enables the interpreters to differentiate between different urban entities more accurately, because you will have more levels of gray level. When we talk about 30-meter satellite images, it looks like this. When we talk about 5.8 meter, it looks like this. And when we talk about 1 meter, then you have more information. So you can just think of how this spectral, spatial, and radiometric resolution are going to help you. ठीक है, अब एक टेबल आपको मैं शो करता हूँ. सी, in this particular table, इस टेबल में मैंने आपको हाईलाइट किया है what kind of satellite images are available, what are the different spatial resolution they have, and at what scale of mapping they can produce, or what scale of map they can produce, and which can be used for different mapping labor and planning level, right? So you can just go through it, where most of the common satellites are listed. ठीक है, तो आपको इस टेबल पे देख सकते हो कि इसमें कॉमन सैटेलाइट सारी लिस्ट की गई है. ठीक है, अब जो हमारी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड है, हियर दिस इज वन लैंड यूज क्लासिफिकेशन आउटपुट. This is the level 3 land use map of, just for example, I have taken for the Guwahati city. So this is produced using the Iconos imagery and ground information, and this is from the comprehensive master plan of Guwahati metropolitan area from GMDA, right? So you can see how much detailed mapping you can perform where you are having high spatial resolution data, right? In this particular slide, we will highlight the advantages when you have high spectral resolution. So you can see here, the vegetation, concrete, and water body, they are having different spectral profiles, right? And it can be used to identify different classes of urban. Here you can see the different profiles associated with the different objects, right? And how they are different from each other. So this is one of the potential areas where you can utilize the high spectral resolution information. So this is in case of urban studies. Now, just talk about the temporal resolution. Now see, here when you are having temporal resolution, so the more images are available for the same area from the same satellite, you can produce such maps and you can analyze how these built up area, agriculture, land, vegetation, water body, bare lands are changing with respect to the time. So basically what is happening here, one class is getting converted into another class depending upon the demands of the people. लेकिन जब हम बात करते हैं GIS की, so in this phase of growing population, there is a necessity of not just urbanization, okay, but smart urbanization. So implementation of remote sensing and GIS technique can give urban planning a new phase that I hope you can understand by this example. Visualization, spatial analysis, and spatial modeling are some of the most widely used GIS functions. So GIS help us to store, to manipulate, and analyze the physical, social, and economic data of a city. The multi-layered mapping feature of GIS can help in analyzing several areas such as prime agriculture land, surface water, high flood frequency, erodible areas, etc. Right? So let us go one more example. So this is one example where GIS has been exploited to derive or to generate a thematic map of Ludhiana city. So here you can just put the search keyword or maybe the zone, ward number, and then house number. फिर उसके बाद buffer size, amenity, and then you can easily find where they are, right? So that will be highlighted. So it is very easy to identify any kind of information for urban city using this GIS technique, right? So there are several applications of urban land use maps like urban growth modeling, urban hydrological modeling, urban disaster protection and analysis, population studies, property taxes and monitoring, utility service mapping, urban climate studies, urban transportation modeling, urban waste management studies, etc. So these are very few potential areas where you can think of utilizing this remote sensing and GIS technique. उसके बाद now let us see one of the very important area, that is hydrogeomorphology. How this river are playing critical role in our life. ये मैंने already आपको previous lectures में बताया है. So let us see how we can utilize this remote sensing and GIS in this particular problem. So we know that rivers are the lifeline for the sustenance and development of human face. The term hydrogeomorphology designates the study of the land form caused by the action of water. So hydrogeomorphology is the inseparable part of the geomorphology, as water is one of the most important agents in forming and shaping of the land form. So anthropogenic activities such as river regulations and mining are gradually disturbing river natural processes and forms, right? So it is very important to monitor and see the changes of any given river system. Okay. Now the remote sensing has the potential. अगर hydrogeomorphology की बात करें तो remote sensing has the potential to provide an invaluable complementary source of data at local to global scale, as in situ monitoring is limited in terms of spatial coverage and frequency, right? So quantification of such valuable alteration is essential for a sustainable river restoration and management program after 1980s. The application of remote sensing technique supported by the new development in data analysis and interpretation led to new research on large rivers and to supporting the integration of geomorphology and ecology that has already been addressed in this particular paper. So these are the different source of remotely sensed images are the remote data sets. Okay. So when we talk about this in more detail, so this is a very generic methodology when we talk about hydrogeomorphology studies from the remotely sensed images. So when we think of utilizing this information for bank erosion, flood status, and then what is the vegetation status in those areas, channel platform, turbidity. So these are some of the potential areas, right? Remotely sensing images can be used for the platform analysis or evaluation. So when we have Cineas river, meandering river, braided river, you can always think of utilizing this remotely sensed images from the space, because that will give you a very big area coverage, right? When we talk about flood monitoring, then also you can see it can give you a clear cut picture about the flood prone areas or flood prone floodplains, right? And there are some references you can go through if you are interested in such studies. Now with this, I end my lecture for this application of remote sensing and GIS part 3. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this part 1, part 2, and part 3 and have learned this. It is expected that at the end of this remote application of remote sensing and GIS, you will be able to utilize this particular technique in your research. So let's just wind up this session. Okay, so thank you so much for listening it to me very patiently. I hope this is clear to you all. So thank you and have a nice day. So enjoy learning, and I hope everybody is safe and are at home in this pandemic, and everybody is vaccinated with the 2 doses of vaccination. So thank you. God bless you all. Thank you, class.